They taught you to count drops, to save one, hide another, live rationing whatever falls, while you stare at a sky that looks welded shut. I'm here to tell you the sky was never locked. It's dammed. Right now, above your head, there is a reservoir filled to the brim. A wall of pressure holding back more than you could use in 10 lifetimes. And that wall doesn't move for effort. It moves for a word. Listen before your old mind talks you out of this. You are not living in drought because heaven is stingy. You're living in drought because no one showed you where the gate lever sits. You were taught to pray upward, empty-handed, begging for rain. While overhead, a full reservoir waited on nothing but permission. The water isn't missing. The opening is. A gate is the only thing standing between a full dam and a dry valley. Not the water is already there. Not the sky is already loaded, it's the opening. One hand on one lever, deciding now. And in this law, that hand isn't effort, it's the mouth, it's the decree. The world says save slowly drop by drop, don't expect too much too soon. The law says, open the gate and let the current find you. Two different universes. One digs at dry ground with bare fingernails. The other rests a hand on the lever and tells the river to come down. You've lived in the first one for years. Today, I'm showing you the second. There's a phrase that doesn't ask, it commands. It doesn't knock politely on heaven's door, hoping someone inside feels generous. It pushes the door open. And when that phrase comes from a mouth that knows what it's doing, the reservoir doesn't drip, it floods. Because an open dam never gives a little at a time. There's one line out of an entire sacred text where heaven itself dares you to test it. Not suggests, challenges. Test me now in this. It says, and see if I do not open the floodgates. That's Malachi 3:10. And before this ends, you'll understand why that line is the exact lever your hand has been missing. Stay with me. What's coming isn't something you absorb once and move on from. You'll want to come back to this. Let me explain how a gate actually works, because if you understand this, you understand the whole law of supply. A dam doesn't fill the moment you need it to. It's already full. It's been full for years. The money you needed 3 years ago, the opportunity you thought you missed, the abundance you assumed was gone. None of it evaporated. It's still up there, pressing against the wall with a force you've never accounted for. Picture a real dam. Tons of water held by one wall. Below, the valley cracks from drought, crops turn to dust, and 200 feet up sits an ocean that could fix everything in an instant. The tragedy was never a lack of water. It was the distance between a dry valley and a hand that knew where the lever was. You've been that valley. Today I'm handing you the lever. It's closer than you think. It's inside your own mouth. Here's the part that changes everything. The gate doesn't open with the hand of effort. It opens with the lever of the word. You spent years shoving your shoulder against that wall, clawing at concrete, sweating over something a single sentence could have moved. And heaven watched, patient. Because the lever was a foot from your mouth the whole time. The word is the lever. The decree is the hand, and the opening is instant. Because water doesn't wait. Water obeys the opening. Sit with that image, a man in front of a 50-foot wall, pounding it with bare fists until they bleed, convinced that if he just hits hard enough, the water will come through. That's effort without law. He could pound that wall his whole life and die with broken hands and a dry valley. But that same wall has a gate, and that gate yields to one arm, aimed correctly. The law doesn't reward the hardest hit. It answers the hand that finds the lever. So what is scarcity, really? Not an absence of water, a dam, one you built yourself, sentence by sentence. Every time you said, I can't afford it, you added another sack of cement to that wall. Every, money never comes to me, raised it another foot. Every complaint was a brick. Every, it's always so hard, was another layer of concrete. Heaven didn't shut the gate, you did, sealed from the inside by your own voice, while the reservoir kept filling above you, unnoticed. Here's the hard part, and also the freeing part. If your voice built the dam, your voice can open it. The same mouth that spent years saying, never comes. That's the lever. You don't need a new tool, you need to turn the one you already have around. Don't underestimate how fast a wall goes up. One sentence, spoken with real feeling, seals more than 100 said carelessly. Someone who says, I never have enough, with genuine H in their chest, just poured a ton of concrete against that wall. not a bag. The law doesn't measure your words by volume. It measures conviction. That's why people repeat, "I am prosperous," 1,000 times and stay dry. The mouth says one thing, the body still believes the opposite. The law answers feeling, not syllables. Every money problem you've had wasn't a shortage of water. It was a gate sealed by a voice. Yours, or one you inherited before you knew how to speak for yourself. Money is hard. People like us don't get rich. You have to settle. Each one a brick someone else laid before you could talk, that you kept stacking out of loyalty. Today isn't about arguing with those sentences. It's about putting your hand on the lever and opening the gate anyway. The law doesn't ask your history for permission. It answers the decree spoken now. There's a scripture built around this exact challenge, Malachi 3:100a. Bring the whole tithe into the storehouse. Test me in this, says the Lord, and see if I will not throw open the floodgates of heaven and pour out so much blessing that there will not be room enough to store it. Notice what that verse actually does. It doesn't ask for blind faith. It says test me, not wait and hope. Do it and watch. It's the only promise in the whole text framed like an experiment. Not something to admire, something to run. Look at its structure. First, bring. A hand releasing something. Second, test me now. Immediate action. Not someday. Third, I will open. The gate's automatic response. Fourth, until it overflows. Unmeasured excess. Movement. Execution. Opening overflow. That's the entire mechanism, written in ancient language. And why now? Why not, test me when you're ready? Or, when you've earned it? Because the gate doesn't answer the future. It answers the hand on it today. Every version of, I'll start Monday, or, when I have more faith, is a hand that never finishes closing around the lever. Now isn't a detail in that verse. It's the condition. The storehouse in that verse wasn't just about coins. It was about movement. Refusing to clutch, out of fear, what was meant to flow. The one who grips everything out of terror is telling the reservoir, I don't trust that you're full. And the reservoir faithfully answers with a closed gate. The one who releases, who lets things move, is saying, I know there's more than enough up there. That trust isn't sentiment. It's mechanics. It's the first turn of the lever. Windows of heaven. Not a crack, not a trickle. Wide open. And then the word that defines everything until it overflows. Not enough. Not what you deserve. Overflow. Heaven doesn't measure carefully, it only knows flood. Here's the part almost everyone gets wrong, and it's the reason most people open the gate once and never see the water they checked too soon. Panic. And shut it again. Say the words once in the morning, again at midday, seal it again at night. Nothing happens the first day, nothing the second. But something is moving up in the reservoir, out of sight. By the third day, the current arrives. Not through the channel you were watching, but through 2 or 3 you weren't. The near miss is always day 1 and 2, when nothing's visible and the old voice whispers, see, it doesn't work, and reaches back for the lever. That silence isn't the gate refusing you. It's water moving through the wall, where you can't see it yet. Closing the lever back down at that point is like sealing the pipe right as the water reaches the final bend. The lesson isn't to speak louder or more often. It's to stop betraying, at night, what your word opened during the day. Most people don't fail because they never decree anything. They fail because they decree by day and undo it by dark, rebuilding the same dam in their sleep. There's no delay in the water itself. The only delay is your hand returning to the lever out of fear, out of doubt, out of loyalty to the old, frightened self who thinks a river is more dangerous than thirst. And there is a tone that closes more gates than anything else, begging. Begging tells the water you're not sure it's really there. Begging keeps a loose grip on the lever. A decree opens it. You don't ask a gate to open the way you beg a favor. You speak to it the way someone speaks who already knows the reservoir is full, and the lever has always been theirs by right. Listen to the difference. One voice, shaking, please open, I've waited so long, I'm begging you. That voice can't move a toy lever. Every word confesses it doesn't believe there's water on the other side. Another voice, level, unshaken, and open. This is mine by law and I claim it now. The second voice didn't ask, it decreed. And the lever, which only answers a steady hand, gave way. Heaven doesn't listen for volume. It listens for certainty. Here's the line. Not something to whisper, not something to negotiate. The sky was never locked. It only needed the right word. Say it once, quietly, the way someone rests a hand on a lever for the first time and feels it. Cold, solid, real. The sky was never locked. It only needed the right word. Say it again, this time with weight. The way someone leans into the lever and feels the first give on the other side. The sky was never locked. It only needed the right word. And the third time isn't a phrase anymore. It's a decree. The lever going down, the gate giving way, the current starting to move. Say it low, certain, like someone who's already listening for the water. The sky was never locked. It only needed the right word. The reservoir was never closed. It was only waiting. If this way of seeing things landed with you, I'd love to have you back for more. Subscribe if you want to keep exploring this with me, and tell me in the comments which line hit hardest. This is Scovel Spirit Daily.